Hi guys, this is Bonnie at Good Earth Spa. You may be hearing a little bit of boiling sounds in the background. It's because the camera is sitting right next to my still and I'm distilling some essential oil today. But that is not what I am doing today. I had someone ask if I could show how I wrap my bars of soap, so I'm going to do that today. And also, I've actually been quite busy lately and I've had a lot of emails and messages, and a lot of you guys are sending me awesome information, and thank you very much for everyone that's doing that. You know who you are. And then I also have a lot of people who are asking questions, so I have a couple of topics I'm just going to talk about. These are my gentle soaps. This is it's mostly olive oil, 80% olive oil, which some people call a Bastille soap, or you may be more familiar with the term Castile soap, which is an olive oil soap. Some people use the term Castile for any soap that is made of all vegetable or all vegetarian ingredients. All my soaps are vegetarian, but the actual Castile was originally all olive oil soap. So somewhere along the line the word Bastille came out, so this is and that's like mostly olive oil with a little bit of other stuff. So this is a Bastille soap, and it's mostly olive oil. So I'm going to be wrapping these. And I use shrink wrap bands, and this is what they look like before I wrap my soaps. So you have to excuse my nails, they're all messy because nail polish is running off and I don't have any remover. Of course the kids make me do that. Anyways, so these are my little shrink wrap bands. It leaves the soap open on one side and then shrink wrap on the rest of the surface, so that way if I'm at a market or something like that and I have a table full of soaps and people want to smell them, they're able to smell the side and they can smell the soap. And so it also gives the soap a little bit of breathing room and makes sure you're able to smell it. It's also clear. I love clear packaging, and the reason why is just because people respond favorably to it. People prefer the clear packaging. Whenever I have something that's in a paper as opposed to something that's in a clear, it always seems like the clear sells better. So I just stick with the clear. I think people just like to be able to see, what they're buying. Anyways, so while I do this, you see I'm just opening them up and sliding them on down over the soap. I'm going to go to my question and answers, which I have my notes up on my bulletin board up here, or just the questions. I'll have the answers in my brain somewhere. Okay. The first, and these all came from a lot of different people too, so I'm not going to mention names because I don't have that written down, and you know who you are. And in the case that it's another soap maker asking, I don't want to mention who it is, but you're free to comment below and say that was me if you want to. But I just didn't want to mention other soap makers' names because I don't know, just for privacy, because these are just kind of questions. I mean, I don't know, just talking soap with other soap makers. So anyway, so the first question I got recently was how much essential oil and/or fragrance oil do you use per pound of soap? Like, what do you recommend? What do I recommend? So this is one where, gosh, it really all just depends. If I were only scenting soap with a fragrant oil being either essential oil or fragrance oil, if I was only using that, I would stick to a ½ ounce to an ounce per pound of oils. And it really depends on how strong the essential oil is. And even sometimes the same essential oil, you may find that one brand seems stronger than another brand. For example, I have two peppermints right now. One peppermint is more light and one is more strong. So I would use a different ratio, and it's just kind of like a guessing. It's just guesswork and trial and error, really. But some essential oils are very strong. For example, eucalyptus, you wouldn't need much, maybe only a ½ ounce per pound. But if you wanted it to be really strong and hold on to vapors, then maybe you'd add more. And the thing too with essential oil soaps is that when you put the essential oil in the soap and everything, it smells really, really strong when it's first made. And then probably, you know, during the whole cure period, like a month, about a month, it smells real strong everywhere. And then, this is not an essential oil soap, I'm just using this for an example. And then, after that, you start to smell it. You smell the outside, and it doesn't smell so strong anymore, and you wonder what happened to the scent. It's still in there, and it will come out as you start to use the soap, because what's happening is the essential oils or fragrances in the outside, this mainly happens more so with essential oils, and they're exposed to air, they kind of just evaporate off and lose the scent, but it's still in there, so the more you get into the soap, the more you smell it. Fragrance oils have a little bit more sticking power, and even though they may not seem to be as strong as the essential oils a lot of times, I actually find since they stick so well, I don't need quite as much as when I use an essential oil. So, but typically for both of them, a ½ ounce to an ounce per pound is typically where I go, and you know, I just adjust from there. Sometimes it's, you know, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8 ounces per pound, or, you know, etc., so on, so forth. And then I do blends. So a lot of times when I do blends, I adjust it accordingly as well. So, put these, oh, here's the bag. Okay. So that's the deal with that. And then also there's sometimes when I deviate from that a lot. For example, my ginger soap was a 7-pound batch, and I only used 1 ounce of essential oil. And the reason being was that I had tons of ground ginger in there, so that scented the soap, and also lots of ginger juice. I found this great organic ginger juice, and I used that, and it really went a long way. So now what I'm doing with these soaps is there's one side has a perforated strip. I want the strip up. That's how I seal these. I do the strip side first. So I want them to be all faced up the same direction. That's what I'm doing now. Okay. So it depends. There's a general rule I follow, but it really just depends. It depends on what I'm mixing, what I'm using, what I'm going for, and stuff like that. Okay, so oh, I had a really great conversation with one soap maker about using botanicals in soap. So there was a thread going on in the forum that I was not posting in, she was posting in, and the debate was, are botanicals any good in soap? Because soap, you know, it gets hot and it has a high pH, so does it really survive and all that stuff? Is it really any good to use botanicals in soap? And my answer is yes. Botanicals are wonderful in soap. And yes, the high pH or the high temperature of soap making will kill enzymes, just like in food. I compare it to food. When you cook your food, you lose live enzymes, but there's still nutritional value, and it's still good for you, and you still eat it. I mean, you still eat your cooked food. Raw food is great. Raw food is the best. But, you know, there's a place for raw and there's a place for cooked as well. And the same thing goes with botanicals and soap. There are maybe some enzymes that don't survive the process, but overall, there is still a lot of good to be had from making soap with botanicals, and some of them will completely survive no matter what. Like, for example, cinnamon. It always survives in the soap. It smells great and everything. And then, you know, you could scent a soap just with cinnamon. So now I'm shrink wrapping these. And so now my bar soap is shrink wrapped, just waiting for a label. Okay, so I'm going to put these non-perforated side up, because I put the label on the non-perforated side, so that way you see your label and then you turn it open and it's easy to use. Okay, so I had another question. How many acres is my farm? Approximately 11 to 12 acres is what I live on now. So, and that's this piece of land here. And it used to be a bigger plot of land, but you know, some's been sold off. So that's what we're on now. And let's see. And the next question was, what is the difference between wildcrafted and organic? This is a really good question, because first let me tell you what organic means, because organic has kind of like two meanings. One meaning for the word organic means that it comes from something living. And that's like the chemistry, like, you know, I'm kind of telling you in layman's terms, but if something is organic, it was alive at one point. So that's the one meaning of the word. However, the other meaning, and what I'm talking about in soap and cosmetics and food and so on, organic means something different. Organic is a government certification. And they certify things that are organic based on, you know, the farm, the land where it's grown, the soil tests and, you know, stuff like that. You have to pay money to be certified organic, and that means that someone from an agency came and took a look at your operation and decided that you are complying with the laws to be organic. But going back to the original meaning, this only applies to things that were alive. So things like clay, you'll never find organic. Things like minerals, you'll never find organic. You'll never find organic salt. You'll never find organic clay. You'll never find organic borax or sodium borate or washing soda, sodium carbonate or sodium bicarbonate, baking soda. Things like that do not come in organic because they're natural minerals. But things that do come in organic would be herbs and milk and things like that. So that stuff does come in organic, and in that sense, organic means that you have paid for, been inspected, and received a seal, a certification that you are organic and that you don't use pesticides or antibiotics or growth hormones or insecticides. Oh, I said pesticides, it's the same thing. Weed killers, chemical, things like that. You don't use that. And that is what being certified organic means. Okay, so now what does wildcrafted mean? And then what's the difference? Wildcrafted means something was taken from the wild. It wasn't farmed. Therefore, it's not certified organic. While it is technically organic, usually, if you get something from the wild, the reason why is because it's not genetically modified, you're not using pesticides, it's not even exposed to human, it's wild, it's completely wild, it's in nature. Like, for example, in the forest, you go collect mushrooms or whatever, they're wildcrafted, but they're not organic unless someone farmed them, and certain mushrooms can't be farmed, so you can't even really get them organic. But, so that's the difference. Wildcrafted is pretty much the same grade as organic when you're talking about quality. In fact, it might even be better because sometimes there's corruption in humans. Oh dear, really? Yeah, sometimes people are corrupt. Anyways, and sometimes these organic certifications don't mean diddly, but usually they do, and more often than not, you're better off getting that organic certification or purchasing things that have been certified organic. For quality. There are problems with the organic certification system, and there sure are. For one, they make it expensive for the small guy to afford it. And then another thing would be, for example, if you bought organic beef, there are loopholes that organic farmers can go through that I do not consider ethical. For example, you can purchase a live cow that was not raised organically, it was pumped full of hormones and everything, or antibiotics its whole life. You can purchase it from a non-organic farm, put it on an organic farm, in as little as 30 days, that cow is now certified organic. So there are problems, but you just have to find yourself a good, reliable source for things, and then just know that more often than not, the organic stuff is actually good, and the people who are organic farmers really do care, but there's always someone out for just profits, and what are you going to do? It's always going to be there. But wildcrafted is great. It's just as good, if not better, than organic grade stuff. So if you see something and it says wildcrafted, just know that it's not certified, but it's basically the same thing. Okay, the next thing is a conversation on milk and soaps. I actually had this conversation with two people recently. Two people talking about milk soaps. Do you have to use water? Do you not have to use water? Is the milk still good after it goes through the soap making process? Is there still all of the health benefits that are in milk? Is it still in the finished product? Well, the answer is yeah, it's still good. No, you don't have to use water. Yes, you can use water. Can you use soap in your lye solution, and then can you, not soap, can you use milk in your lye solution, and then can you use it in super fatting? The answer is yes, 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 yes. You can put milk in soap in just about so many different ways that it could just, there's so many different ways you could do milk soap, and then there's different kinds of milk. Cow's milk, goat's milk, sheep's milk, etc. have different qualities. Get out of here. So goat's milk is good. The goat's milk that I use is about 5% milk fat, which is about, you can't even get that in stores. It's really, really good milk, and you can only get it from the farm, and I wish that there were more lax laws, but they're not. Cow's milk is typically 3% fat, and but all the milks have protein, lots of protein. So when you use the milk before in your lye solution, what you're doing is, and you ought to do it chilled, because you don't want to scorch your milk is a big thing. That's, if the milk solution, milk and lye together, if it turns real dark, real orange, real brown, real something like that, you probably scorched the milk. Your proteins did not survive so well. Maybe some did, but if it still feels like that creamy, silky, then you're probably good. But you want to go for like a pale yellow color when you mix your milk, and the secret is to just keep it cold. But then again, you don't want to keep it too cold if there's a lot of fat, because it can solidify as well. So again, it's a trial and error that you work through and you learn it. You can work with frozen milk, you can work with fresh milk, you can work with cold milk. I don't recommend warm, because it will scorch. And then you can also super fat in the end with either cream or milk. So if you're going for a creamy lather, I would recommend goat milk. Goat milk has a higher butter fat percent, or higher fat, so that makes a creamier milk. And it also has a lot of protein. Both of them have proteins. So really they're just as good as each other, with just a little bit of differences in the composition of what's actually inside. So the proteins survive. The proteins are great for your skin. There's different amino acids, and they differ in composition, so one might be better for your skin than another one. So there's stuff in there that it's good, it promotes healing, it feels silky, it feels great. It's also a skin food. Your skin is like the largest organ on your body, and you do absorb things through your skin. Now, one question was, well, do you have any proof to back that up? Do you have any, anything I can go to and read for myself? Well, no, not really. And the reason why is because soap is a cottage industry. Everyone's doing it at home. No one has the money to afford these big old tests to run, like the FDA can do. The FDA can afford to run all these big tests, and pharmaceutical companies can afford it. But even though there's no proof that this stuff goes into your skin, like it really does go into your skin and nourish you, there's no proof. But you know what there is proof of? Well, the birth control patch does it, the testosterone patch does it, the nicotine patch does it, and all these other topical medicines that are sold for the skin all absorb into the skin and have proven medical benefits to people. So, while I can't afford to send this out to 100 test panel people and record their each individual responses and make a claim, because I can't afford to, to do a study like that. It's too expensive. Even though I can't afford that, there is significant proof out there that the skin absorbs nutrients and medicines, and there you go. So, just experiment with your milk soaps, and when you find one that's good for you, a good way, then just stick to it. Alright, so that is all that I had to talk about today while I wrap my soap. And there you go. So there. My soaps are wrapped. And I'm going to go label them and get them listed, because these are, I'm a couple days late on this. Meant to do it a couple days ago, but they're ready to go. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.